Good afternoon, everyone. Wonderful to be back here playing with our inner goddess teams. This is Deborah Roth from Spirited Living. And it's been a flurry of a day. And it's my anniversary, which I feel compelled to say right off the bat, my 42nd wedding anniversary. Pretty momentous in this day and age. And it's funny. Those of you that have been with me know that I love chanting, and I will, we'll do a chant, sharing some kind of goddess song or chant when I do these videos. And I was very surprised to discover that when I went looking for chants for this particular Hindu goddess, she's always paired with her husband, who frankly didn't treat her all that well. So how's that for a preamble? So the goddess that we're playing with today, that we are inviting into our sacred space and really acknowledging on our inner goddess teams, is Sita. Devi Sita is one way that she's referred to in the Hindu religion. Mother Sita is how I think I was kind of first introduced to her. And I was first introduced to her, and which is, I guess I've heard her name in chants and other places, but didn't know her story. And so my first introduction, and I know this always comes through backwards when I show you books, but this is Wild Mercy, just so you can see the image. I love the image on it. Wild Mercy by Mirabai Starr, living the fierce and tender wisdom of the women mystics. How great is that? And Devi Sita, or Mother Sita, is one of the goddesses that she highlights there. And while I didn't see it other places, apparently one of her festival days is May 10th, which is tomorrow. So I figured it was a timely time to myself learn more about Sita, Mother Sita, and also put her out there, I suspect, because she is so beloved, of one of the most beloved of the Hindu goddesses, that there will be more of you that know of her perhaps than I did. So she represents the virtues of courage, of purity, of dedication, of loyalty, and sacrifice. And in the Hindu epic, which is called Ramayana, she is the central figure there of kind of quiet strength and especially the epitome of devotion and selflessness, which we know can get women into trouble when we're so busy taking care of everybody else. But she was devoted as a wife, a mother, a daughter, in every respect. And the sacrifice piece comes in really because she was her life was filled with all kinds of trials and tribulations, and I'll tell you a little bit of her story, of her mythology, as we go through here. And she kept rising above it in this very strong, courageous way. So her birth story kind of reflects her name. Sita actually means, in that dialect, furrow, Furrow, like a something like in a plowing field, the little ditch that you put the seeds in, and that is where she was born. She was not born from a woman's womb. She was born from the womb of the Earth Mother, basically. And she miraculously appeared as a baby in a furrow in a field that King Janaka was doing a ritualistic fertility plowing of the field. It was his duty as the king to ensure fertility of crops and of his people, to do the first plowing ritual in his kingdom. So he found Sita there, Mother Sita, not a mother at that point, baby Sita, and raised her as his own, basically adopted her, with his wife Sunaina. And when it was time for her to be married, there was a contest held. And apparently when she was small, when she was just a little girl, she picked up a bow, as in, bow and arrow, and easily handled it, which was surprising to King Janaka, because even the strongest warriors and the gods didn't have the strength to pick up this bow. So the contest for all of the suitors that gathered for this daughter, this adopted daughter of the king, to win her hand in marriage, was to string this bow, this super strong bow. And the only one that could do it was Lord Rama. And so he won her in marriage, and they were ready to go off together to Rama's castle. However, Rama's stepmother convinced his father that her son, Rama's stepbrother, should be king. And not quite sure the story about how that happened, but he was banished into the forest. And rather than Sita drop him, she followed him into the forest and lived there with him for 14 years. And I love the description that Mirabai gives. One of her friends has done lots of study about Devi Sita, and talks about the fact that she communicated with the animals. She followed the climate cycles. There were other cool things that she did when she was, concocted herbal remedies, because she did have this deep connection with the earth. So at some point, Hanuman, the elephant-headed god in the Hindu tradition, came, by to save her, and she refused him and said no, she would wait for her husband Rama, because she knew that he would come rescue her, which he did. The problem was, once she got home and settled, first of all, she went through, some variations of the myth say that Rama required her to do this. One of the wonderful places that I found talked about her choosing to go through a special fire ritual to prove that she was still pure, even though she had been, oh no, sorry, I missed a whole part there. Sorry. So they came home, they got settled, and then she was kidnapped by the devil god Ravana. And so she's kidnapped. That's when, I'm sorry, I skipped the very important part, that she was kidnapped by Ravana. When he's coaxed away by some other gods who are trying to save her, that's when Hanuman comes, tries to save her. She says no, Rama comes, saves her. So when he gets home with her, when she gets settled back in, his people insist that this fire ritual that she put herself through was not enough. And they insist that in order to, what was the phrase? In order to protect the moral fabric of the community, of the kingdom, because she'd spent so many months with this demon god, with another man, Ravana, they insisted that Rama exile her, which she does. She goes off into exile and resists, and said, this is a humiliation, not just to me, but for any woman in this community. But she does it. She goes off to a beautiful place. And while she's in exile, she gives birth to 2 twin boys. Now, the boys are Ramas. They are not the demon god. She gives birth to 2 boys and raises them to be these delightful, apparently, they grow into wonderful young men. And they eventually reunite with their father, with Rama, but she refuses to return to him because of this whole thing. So, of everything that happened, the fact that he exiled her and didn't stand up for her. So at that point, Mother Earth then opens up another furrow and offers up her hand for Sita to come return to her. And so she descends into the great Earth Mother from whence she originally came. So the story in the Hindu religion is very much about devotion and loyalty and all that she sacrificed. And I don't know, I kind of had a problem with the fact that when I was looking for chants for her, The only ones I found were Sita Ram chants. In fact, one that I have on one of my favorite CDs, MP3s, whatever, Wah, who does beautiful Sanskrit chants, and they're basically to the words are always with Sita in combination with Ram. So it's Jare Ram, Sita Ram, Sita Ram, Sita Ram, Hari Ram, Sita Ram, Sita Ram. So she's always coupled with Ram, who, I don't know, maybe there's somebody that knows more about the Hindu religion than I do, but that does not seem like like a marriage I would want to celebrate. The fact that she followed dutifully after him when he went into exile. However, when she was kidnapped and brought back, he exiled her again. So yes, there's lots of lessons about needing strength and courage to get through those trials and tribulations. And another way that you can certainly connect with Sita is in her personification as Mother Earth. But what I wanted to do, and what I'll leave you with, whether you're watching this the day before, or the day after, or anytime during the year of the May 10th festival day of hers, to think of her, to invoke her during times when you need courage, when you need strength, when you need to remember. And that's why it was so interesting when I read further that I'm actually, without any intention, doing this on my anniversary. Which you can imagine, over 42 years of marriage, we've had our ups and downs. We had a big conversation last night even. But, we're devoted to each other. And lots of the chants, if you go looking for this kind of thing, which I love, talk about this devoted couple kind of skimming over the fact that she was exiled by him. And that she was so dutiful about staying with him when he went into exile. So I will leave you with to ponder about her. I always put a little bit more information. I'll put something about the wonderful Wild Mercy book that I first kind of got introduced to her when I read it. And I'll put some, one or two of the other places that I found resources. I always do that in the YouTube description. So that what I'll leave you with is just kind of a combination of Om Shanti, only without Ram. I just wanted to make this purely for Sita and acknowledge the strength and courage that she showed as a woman, not just in her marriage with Rama, but in the time that she was with the demon god, with Ravana. She kept her presence about her. She did not allow herself to be ravaged by him. So my version of just a Sita, pure Sita honoring chant is Om Sita, Om Sita, Om Sita, Om Sita, Om Sita, Sita, Om Sita, Om. Om Sita, Om Sita, Om Sita, Om Sita, Om Sita, Om Sita, Sita, Om. Some variation of that. And you can find lots of Sita Ram chants as well. I just felt I was compelled to just single her out on her own as a strong, courageous woman. Thanks so much for joining me, and I'll see you back here, I think, next week. Bye for now. Namaste.